Hey, internets, welcome back to Same-ish Different Day, the podcast where we continue the march into madness. I'm Raza Malik, and I'm joined with my Amazeballs co-host, Bailey Nargang. Also featuring the lovely Wine Mom, the arbiter of everything TikTok and YouTube.
Hey, it's Wine Mom.
Bailey here. Gotta drop that reminder that you can find this show on any streaming service you use. Remember to leave a sassy review, and you want to bash us or our opinions generally? Well, you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and maybe some other places in the future.
I join these guys weekly to keep their egos in check as we break down complex social issues and talk about why your kids shouldn't be watching family vloggers.
We talk about real-ish on a real level. Ain't got time for the Twitters? Don't worry, we have collectively wasted our existence combing the internet for you.
Also, before these two get carried away, don't be shy. Join our Discord for the inside scoop. You can also support us on Patreon, where you can work your way up our very own class system. And don't worry, it's pay to win.
So welcome back to another episode of Same Shit, Different Day, where we try not to rip each other's heads off.
Let's get it. What's up, internets? This is Same-ish Different Day, the podcast with a name that we can't say anymore. This week, we're talking about relationships. Yeah, the thing we all struggle with. And what Raza wanted to do this week was talk about it in the context of how do you navigate developing them in this changing social atmosphere, right? So it was already tough to find new people, date new people, and develop the relationships online, but we're stuck at home more and more. We've all become a little bit of a narcissist. I don't know where to start even explaining like what the hell is going on with my life. So dating is definitely a challenge in that perspective. Raza, could you enlighten us as to the challenges you may be facing in developing relationships in your life?
Like existing is a challenge. Just I don't really have any challenges. I get it. I don't get it.
Yo, come on.
All right, buddy.
No, see, there's the challenges are just like putting up a front and hoping people will see your goodness, I guess. I don't know. People are not as genuine these days, so you have to be a little bit more like a little bit more aggressive with how you search for things. I know Wine Mom is pretty much dealing with something like this, or I'm right? Wine Mom?
I mean,
To you now.
of course. No, I think like the current dating environment is just not like this is the thing. A lot of people have not been dating because of COVID. So a lot of them are looking just to like get things dealt with. Like they're looking to hook up and just be real casual because they've done nothing for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very toxic environment because of that. And then I think like for myself, like I'm a bit of like I guess the terminology is a lover boy, but I'm just that kind of person that like I'm just very emotional and I like having emotional connections with people, and I feel like people just don't have the time or energy for that anymore. And so
Yeah.
it gets very daunting very quickly.
Yeah, that's so the combination of your two answers there. I know Raza was fucking around a little bit, but it presented the intriguing issue of like, how do you present that you're a genuine person, right? Like if I'm sitting there, like we're honest people, we're good people, we're not trying to manipulate the world. I mean, Raza is every now and then, but like, how do you? I don't know how to write a dating profile to say like, hey, I'm a real person. I'm not filter obsessed, you know? Like I don't really know how to communicate that.
Like how do you come off genuine when everybody is peacocking?
Well, this is the thing. Every single time I talk to someone, usually within the first week of talking to them, it's not like let me take you on a date. It's like, oh, do you want to come over and cuddle or watch a movie? And it's like, no, I don't want to have sex with you immediately. Is that okay? Like why is that like literally the first place you hello, I could be. And this is the thing, men. I don't understand how you do things. Some women are literally psychotic, and you're like, yeah, let's have sex right away. Like, are you not worried about what that's going to do to you?
This is a personal attack on me now.
Listen,
Yeah.
I've literally said to guys before when they're like, oh, they're like, come hang out right away and like let's cuddle and watch a movie, or like let's quote unquote nap together. The first thing I say to them is
Yo.
like, yeah. The first thing I say to them is like, what if I was clingy and obsessive and like I just fucked your life up? And
Yeah.
their response is always like, well, you're not that kind of girl. You're cool. And I'm like, no, I am that kind of girl.
Oh,
Like,
jeez.
I'm gonna be obsessive. Is that what you want? And then they're like, oh, it's like, and I'm comfortable saying that because it's like I'm not interested anymore, anyways. Like you've already ruined it for yourself because now
Yeah.
you're boring. Because you're boring. Like I don't want to sleep with you anyways because you're boring.
Because you're boring. You heard that?
You're
Yeah, and
boring.
nap, bro. Yeah, come on, boring. That's the best you could come up with is nap is your excuse. Oh my gosh, that's a crazy one. That's oh.
So boring. So
I can't.
transparent. Like,
Yeah.
I like activities. Like, I'm
oh,
a
I'm a
fan.
really good big spoon. Like, yeah, bro, so am I. What's your point?
I can bend my hips too, fam.
Like,
Do something 99% of the population does all the time. Good for you.
right. GG,
So
bro.
then Araza, you're saying you like to do things and take people out and do activities, right? In post Rona world, what's like you have you had any like creative date spots? I haven't been. There's no
Well,
how
not
no.
creative at all. Just be like, okay, what's the most basic thing I can take someone out to, and I take them there. And like people, if they care enough, that's all. Like it isn't about the spectacle of where you take them. You're basically doing a job interview at that point. You're like, oh, this is who I am, blah blah. I uh, I hope we get to see each other again based on the way I presented myself out on this date or whatever. So that's how I. It's just like
I like that. I like that analogy. I like the job interview analogy. I find that it is very similar nowadays for sure. That
yeah,
you get
yeah,
stuck. It's almost like I'm trying to give you the elevator pitch of my skills and abilities in as short a time
yeah,
as possible because I know there's a lot of other applicants on your Tinder profile.
yeah.
Well, see, and that's another thing too. Like, it gets very annoying. Like, okay, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, "Oh, I'm the hottest girl in the world," because no. But what's very irritating is that when men first start talking to you, they talk to you like you're that way, and then they
Mhm.
do this like very simpy, very petty thing where they're like, "Oh, I'm sure you have lots of options," because it's not a secret that in the dating world, it's like there's women get so many more matches doesn't mean that it's of quality, okay?
Yeah.
Just because a lot of
Yeah.
guys swipe on my profile does not mean that I'm getting the pick of the litter, okay? It just so happens that these guys have anonymity technically unless I swipe on them, so they just swipe on you anyways because they don't feel any way about it. They're throwing as much out there as possible to
Hmm.
try and catch whatever
Yeah.
they can. And so it's like when someone says something like, "Oh, I'm sure you have so many matches and so many options," it's like, okay, so then why am I even bothering to talk to you? Because you clearly have already written me off as somebody who is shallow and busy with everybody else and not looking to create what could be a genuine connection with you. So I'm
Yeah.
confused now. Like, do you even want to talk to me because you think I'm so busy? Like,
Yeah. I had I yeah, I feel not I don't feel bad for those people, but I definitely went through that phase myself. I won't even try to pretend like I'm some hero here. I went through the woe is me thing when I don't know, I'm definitely much younger than it seems like most men go through it, but there's that time where you get so self-negative about the situation, you apply pessimism thinking that like you'll get some empathy by groveling in a way.
That's
right.
you like, and I don't want to be. Oh my God, I don't want to be like what Bailey said, but I was like that at some point, and
I
then
mean,
I became, I think, again, 25, and my life went downhill. And that's when I grew up. And that's when you stop doing those things. But not a lot of guys are like that. That's why I think I'm low key an anomaly. And I don't like to talk highly of myself, by the way.
I mean, like, I get it, right? Because it's not that women don't feel the same way. We just don't verbalize it that way. Like, obviously, there is some sort of imbalance and everything, and people feel how they feel, and I get it. But, like, it's very cringy when you do that. So it's like I matched with this guy, and things were, like, conversation was really good. Everything was fine. By all means, I was more than willing to, like, go and meet up with them. But I'm busy. Like, I work every day, and then on the weekends, like, you guys know this, I don't have a lot of time. I have a lot of things that I'm always doing. I'm always doing something. And so I had to put off hanging out because I was like, I have a lot to do. There's stuff going on in my apartment. Don't worry, we'll get together. And so whatever, the conversation is continuing, and then he starts sending me pictures of himself, which is cool. Fine, great.
Ugh.
Send me photos of yourself. I'm so cool with that. But then starts saying things like, "Oh yeah, like I know I'm so ugly," and it's, why are you talking to me then,
Sorry, that sounds like juvenile. Sorry.
Yeah.
bro? Like,
Sorry, I
why?
feel like a dick.
But it's the truth though. It's like, why is that what you're saying? Because it's like, what's the point even if you already think you're so ugly, and like, why? What? If you think that I'm really hot and out of your league, great. Tell me that. Don't tell me that you're so ugly.
Mhm. Because
Yeah.
people at that point, like, oh,
Like,
you're
okay,
like,
maybe I should think you are so ugly. Like,
mhm.
you know?
I
Like,
would have that table flipped with like with femme dating girls. Like I would have the same issue of like pull they would pull out a less like a more self-conscious line in the hopes of be, oh no, I think you're blah 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 or the most beautiful, and it's like that's less attractive for me because I don't necessarily want to. If you're coming out of the gates with me needing to boost you up, then it's like, then what road is this going to go down in the long run?
I mean, like, it's normal to want compliments, but to actively fish them out, then like maybe that's just not the person for you.
yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
like maybe you're just not in the right place.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, Bailey has a hard line that I don't chase. I don't chase.
Yeah.
If you're dangling some carrot, like I'm willing to, like I will do the romantic stuff. I'm not being some incel-y men first. Like I'll do work. I'll go out of my way. But if it's like some games like that where I have to win your favor and and no, I'm sorry. I'm
So
sorry.
like how I do it is if I'm talking to a girl, I don't be like, oh hey, like I do like engage with her, but like once I know that like the conversation isn't going anywhere, I don't continue with that. It's like, okay, it's clearly I'm not getting the same energy put back in this, so I'm just gonna, leave it for now. And usually that ends up working in my favor because then they're like, oh hey, sorry about that. Like, oh, it's okay. But
I,
then like I see guys like, oh hey, you didn't speak to me for this long. Were you out doing some bullshit? And it's just like that stuff is just, like the most like
It's like
over the top.
That's the digital version of where's my hug.
Yeah, what was
yeah.
that? Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Like, if I don't know where we're trying to go with this segment for sure, but if there's anything that I can give advice wise when it comes to this, like if you're a guy, let's say if you're a guy, I'll try and give for both. If you're a guy and you're like, I'm struggling with dating, and like you feel that any of the things I said are things that you're saying to women, understand this one thing. If you match with a woman on a dating app, she finds you attractive, she finds you funny, or she finds you interesting. Okay? Use that to your advantage, that this person finds you funny, attractive, or interesting. And instead of asking them if they think that, showcase yourself. Be
Yeah.
funny, be interesting. Don't worry so much about what they think, because eventually she's gonna let you know. She's gonna tell you. And then, for women, really the big thing is like, if you're noticing cycles and patterns of these sort of things and red flags, just move on. Save yourself the time and the energy and just say thank you, no thank you, because it's not worth trying to pet some guy's ego to feel good in the situation that you're in.
So
In
that
other
is,
words,
get your punchline off, Raza. Deliver it. Make us laugh. Go.
dudes have big dick energy and just be a good person. And yeah.
Just showcase yourself, bro.
I love that. Big dick energy translates to just be good peoples. You actually that translates to the next segment like perfectly. So I'm gonna use that as the jumping board. The next segment, it's just another development on the relationship stuff here. Is like how sorry, how we wrote it. Raza wants to know, how do you and your partner like to share your loads? But sorry.
Sorry, what?
So
I didn't agree to that.
As we're talking about this, it's nuanced. You're saying that you got to have some big dick energy and be nice and fair, right? We're in 2021. As like gender roles are changing, and it's definitely, the field is much more fair and balanced, right? As we're entering this and we're trying to navigate it, like, how do you enter a relationship with a dude or dating someone online and discuss like the balances and what you two want in terms of like healthy respect and the boundaries and roles you both play in the relationship? Right? Because that's a tough one in terms of me sitting there, right? You're entering Tinder dating, right? Mr. Polyamory human. I have troubles walking into that because then, like, entering a social situation, not only do I have to figure out how to, like, present what I want out of a relationship, I also have to explain how relationships work in my life in general. So it becomes a very complicated, not easy process.
Yeah.
Right.
With like all sorts of things that can be categorized as relationships now.
Yeah. So like Raza, Raza, you go out, you date a girl, you're on Tinder, you're like, hey, having a fun time. How are you setting up like, you know what, if you play your cards right, I could date you, or this is just for the fun times? How do you present that?
Yeah. How do I present that? I don't know, because I've never been in that. I don't know. I just come back to me on that one.
This man picks the deep topics without the deep dots. Come on.
I just got blown away by the play I made. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted.
It's all right. Wine Mom, you got anything?
All right, you're gonna have to repeat the question.
Yeah.
Because I'm very confused.
When entering relationships, it's already a complicated situation with like it being 2021 and how you're doing Tinder dating and it's remote, or Lord knows the person could be LGBTQ, or the person could be this, or the person could be that, right? Like, how do you enter dating someone saying like, this is what's good, this is what I want, this is the type of relationship I am looking for as a wine mom?
I literally just honest. The thing is, like, usually within the first 3 messages, it's a little bit of like, hey, this is me, hi, and then I try to be very clear about what I want. Because I know what I want. Like, I'm not a little kid, and I'm not interested in playing games and doing this, like, back and forth dangly thing. And I'm also very intense. Like, I don't know how it comes off here, but I'm very much like, if I'm into someone and I'm into something and I'm invested or I'm interested, like, I'm not interested in wasting time. Like, process of elimination immediately. So if I'm like, yeah, I'm into pursue this, you're gonna know fast. I'm just not interested in wasting time. And I think, like, with the dating world now, we spend so much time dancing around the topic because everyone's so insecure and, like, nervous and shy. And I get it, because we've all spent so much time at home, not really knowing like how to spend time with people and communicate with people. But like honestly, save yourself so much stress if
Yeah.
you just say to somebody, look, this is what I'm looking for. What are you looking for? To see if you even complement each other instead of wasting your time talking to someone for however long and then finding out you have completely different interests in where you want things to go.
Mm-hmm.
I think you just got to be forward. What just to piggyback off of Wine Mom was saying, just be
Yeah.
forward with it, and like don't like you're both already at that point, right? Why beat around the bush? Why you're there's this underlying there's those underlying feelings there that you both clearly understand without even saying anything. So if that understanding is there, why not you know speak a little and then hopefully you get what you want out of that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, but it's not that easy for everybody, right? Like you're saying it as if it's like you're already someone who's come to terms with like I want to share what I want, right?
This is like after you know you've crossed certain boundaries and stuff. That's
Mm-hmm.
how you have to make those conversations. You can't just go, hey, on
I mean, like,
the second date, like, hey, do you wanna move in? No,
well,
you have to. I know there's cases of that
I mean, you
happen.
think you're being funny, but that's once you reach a certain age, like that is. It's like, are we gonna move in together eventually, or are we gonna play this like, you sleep at my place, I sleep at your place, I drive to your place, you drive to my place. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. It's different once you reach a certain threshold of an age, right? Like Bailey, I know you date differently, right? So that's not a pressure that you have because you date the way that you date, but
Mm-hmm.
when you're looking for like a partner, right? Like someone you want to eventually have a relationship with intimately long term, like you want to know pretty fast if that person's going to be complementary to your life.
Mhm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's like I'll never understand why people the first thing they want to do is talk about how you're going to be sexually together versus are you even going to get along
Yeah.
at a restaurant. You know what I mean? Like, because you're gonna find more out about someone when they're like mean to the barista versus whether they are good in bed. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because like you're gonna, they may be great in bed, but if they suck all the time outside, you're gonna be like, you, ew. I don't even want like it's the balance isn't even there.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. You're right. Um, how do you do those social tests in these last 2 years then? Is it just the cafe? Do you try to keep it simple? Or like if
I
there
guess
if
you.
there wasn't really events to take them out in what type of test did they have to pass during the COVID era to make sure that they were okay according to this scale?
So I'll just say I don't test people. I'm
Sorry.
not interested. I'm not interested in that. Like,
Sorry.
here's
Yeah.
no, don't apologize because some
Lab
people
rats.
put people through tests. No, I get it. It's totally fair. I've had guys try to me through like quote unquote tests, which like okay, you're just making yourself look dumb because I know what you're doing and I'm not worried about a test because I know myself, so that's fine.
Mhm.
Um, but like, I'm not a test kind of person. For me, it's like do we vibe? Because at the end of the day, like if I'm into somebody and we're doing something, I don't really care about everything else. I just care about like who we are together and like what's happening. Like I'm more present in what's happening. So now if you're asking me like how I get to know people and how I do, I literally just integrate them into my things. So like I'm super
Mm.
impulsive but also casual. So it's like if I wake up on Saturday I want to go to the park and I want to go for like a 2 hour walk with my mom's dog, let's say.
Mhm.
If I'm interested in somebody, I'm going to say, are you down to go for a 2 hour walk in the park with me? And if they're down, I'm going to learn a lot about them on that walk. Because what else are we going to then talk? Also, I'm going to see how they interact with animals that you guys know
Mhm.
is super important to me. Like, I'm going to know somebody that way. I'm not going to
Or
test them like, oh, do they hold the
example.
door open? Are they going to pay for my coffee? Are they going to offer to drive? Are they going to give me gas money if I drive to them? Like, I'm not going to check that stuff. It doesn't matter to me because I've got my own shit under control. I'm just more interested in how we vibe and
So
if
to
you can
put
hang.
so to put fancy
Oh,
PR words to it, you invite them into your environment and see how they handle it at first.
Yeah.
yes.
I
You
Yeah.
adopt them.
The thing is, I know that I'm a lot for people because of like I'm very chaotic. So I know that I can be a lot. And like as you know, Bailey, I'm so dumb. Like I ask Bailey for directions to go to the place we go to all the time. So like I need to know that people can handle that part of me because that's me, right? So when I bring people into my life, I'm trying to be like, this is what it's like to know me on a regular basis. Can you handle that? And not in a
Mm-hmm.
test way, but also in a way of like, I'm giving you your option to run for the hills because if you're
Mhm.
not going to be able to handle this now, it's not going to work long term. So figure out what you want, you know?
Yeah, no, I think that's a valid way to go about it. I think that's a very fair and just way, healthy if anything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I definitely I used to go through the same before often, but it would also then sometimes cause problems because the people I was dating thought I was much more comfortable and closer with them than they thought because I was so easy to welcoming them into my life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So I did have to navigate some weird boundaries with that, with like the emotional immaturity of the other people, maybe not being so ready to have someone be so friendly and not test them in that way. So that
Mhm.
was so. As much as we give this advice, I'm gonna give the forewarning that it does come with some headaches sometimes if people aren't at the same emotional awareness level as you.
Yes,
Right.
yeah, that's 100% accurate. I agree with that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're definitely right. You want someone to be able to like understand you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, like, for example, like I had those issues. I've a couple times over, even before being Mr. Super polyamorous and woke, of like I would have situations where I was like being blatant and not honest with the human. I'd be dating someone, and it's like, look, I think we're on separate pages. I'm here. I do enjoy you, and things can be emotionally intense, but I'm not necessarily, as Wine Mom said, I'm not going down that path that you might be looking for, right? So
Right.
I gotta say that off now, and they would freak out and pour a drink on me and walk out,
Has
and then
happened.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like I've like had that happen multiple times. The pour the drink was only once, but I've had storm outs a couple times because I've been like honest about what's going on. Because it's
Bailey's
like I
life is a
think,
movie.
so it's like something you have to also be prepared to take your lumps, but at the same time not be grumpy about it. Because I think that's also where a lot of these toxic dudes online go wrong. They try to do the right thing, and the
Mhm.
other person may not be emotionally ready for it, and then all of a sudden now they plaster it as all women do X or all women don't want this,
Right.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
and
Right.
that's not fair
But
either just because you got fucked over one time, man.
right, but also be fair, like women also have that same idea of like all men want one thing, right?
Valid.
Like we do have that idea too. So it's like
Mhm.
that's a normal human reaction in dating to like lump everyone into one box of like what they want, which is why it's so important to just tell people what you want. Because I think like nowadays, like we worry so much about being honest. And I know that I've told you guys this story before, but I had matched with a guy. Everything was going really well. I said, "This is what I want." And he said, "Great, this is what I want." We had set up to go for a date. Perfect. The day came for the date. I messaged him. I said, "Are we still good for this time?" No response. So obviously, I'm assuming Katie's not interested. That's fine. You changed your mind. Maybe I'm not as entertaining for you. Whatever. Right? No big deal. Whatever. Then later, matches with me again. And I say, hey, like, we had a date planned. Like, I'm just curious what changed, like what happened, what changed your mind. Not in a way to like start an argument or anything like that. Like, why did you cycle back? I obviously wasn't for you the first time around. Why did you pop back up? And his response was, well, you were looking for something serious and I was looking for a casual hookup. So my response was, but you said you wanted the same thing as me. Why did you say you wanted the same thing with me if that's not what you wanted? And his response is to say, well, if I told you the truth, then you wouldn't have like agreed to meet me. And it's like, yeah, that's the point, bro. Like,
Yeah.
that's the whole point. You're supposed to say, okay, this is what I want. If we don't want the same thing, thank you for your time. Change your mind later on. Let's talk about it. But if that's not what you want, that's not what you want.
Mm-hmm.
So why even waste my time of like, I could have gone on a date with somebody else. But instead, I saved time for you to be like, well, I wanted something different and I didn't feel like wasting your time, but you wasted my time.
Yeah.
You lied.
Yeah, that's the definition of wasting time in terms of like the meme status of it. That's fucked. I feel a lot of empathy there. Sorry, Raza, go.
I mean, don't feel empathy. I really don't give a fuck. I'm just telling the story for just the idea of like, this is what happens when you don't communicate honestly. Sorry, go ahead, Raza.
Oh no, you basically took the words right out of my mouth. Like us guys, me included. I won't speak on Bailey's behalf, but we are very bad at talking about things, especially feelings, because we have been told that our feelings are talking about them is very cheesy when it's not. So this is a problem that's happening to us because society has told us that, you can't be soft, you must be rock hard all the time.
Right.
So look at it.
Yeah, Raza, you're pretty good at being rock hard all the time, huh?
Pretty much, only when you're around, Bailey. Only when you're around.
Continue.
Yeah, so like we're pretty bad at like talking about important things like this. I'm learning myself to communicate better, but I don't know about the majority of my gender.
Species.
I'm empathetic to a degree. Like, I get it and I understand because it's not easy for women either. I don't know why. Just because emotional people, or humans or whatever, it's not like it's that easy for us either. But you gotta try, bro. Like, you gotta try, And like, I know it's not easy to have to tell people when because if you match with somebody you really like, and then you have to be like, okay, well, I only want to hook up because, sometimes men just want to hook up until they know that they like you enough to move forward. And if that's your thing, maybe you'll find a girl who likes that. And if you're afraid, you're going to ruin something because that's what you want, like, you have to just get over that. Because if it's going to ruin it, then that just means that it's not meant for you. So just be honest.
Yeah. It's just like you don't... You're already putting up the walls before something can happen.
Right.
You're like going into defense mode for no apparent reason, and that's gonna I'm learning how to not do that as we speak, but like it's just easier said than done on the other side. It's just you have to like start trusting people. And that's what I have to start doing. But other than that, Bailey, what about you?
I did have a similar issue where I was like, I was what Wine Mom described. I would like put the walls up and lock people out before I could have the opportunity to like bond with them. And then it's like all this, I was going down a bad, silly path now that I'm like educated on this. And like, thankfully I've got a good soul and good people around me. But it's like, for a while I had that perspective of like, oh, well, it's not me. It's I can't trust people and I can't open up and blah blah blah, and it can't be something wrong with me, and then it's like, no, it is. It is something wrong with you.
It's
Um,
a cheesy one line or two, but like you want to.
so it's like that was a tough thing for me to come to terms with, and then when you put it into perspective of the dating scene, it's even if you do want to open up, it's tough to find those places to open up. And
Yeah.
I think that's why it's important you try a lot, because even though you're going to fail and it will be awkward, that's how you find the friends that will actually listen and be there for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Like I just my mindset, and it was pretty toxic, but like if I because I don't want to go through a breakup. That's like I did it, and it's the worst thing I've ever lost time, lost swag, lost everything. But like I want to,
Okay.
I don't know. Like all jokes aside, like I don't want to repeat uh that sort of like loss of time again. So why I did that initially was just like I just much rather be like defensive most of the time because I want
Yeah.
to deal with the the consequences of our breakup. And your boy over here is a very emotional man. Um, I don't know why he is, but he is. So it hits me harder than the other person from my experience. Yeah.
Right. I mean, like, that's more than fair to have those thoughts and feelings, right? Like, nobody wants to go through breakups and have to, like, deal with the repercussions of, like, investing time and energy into people. Like, it's not
Mhm,
fun, right?
mhm,
Mm-hmm.
But sadly, it's a part of it. And it's weird
yeah,
because when I think about it now, when we were teenagers, like back and forth all the time. Like people all the time were like seeing new people and it wasn't a big deal. Like it was happening all the time.
mhm,
But now there's all this pressure to like not have that happening because we just there's this pressure to be at a certain level with your relationships now,
mhm,
which is just it's unfair. Like you can't expect people to be there already. It takes time to find someone and feel comfortable and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
just because the way that it's presented in social media and just media in general is like you have to find somebody soon. You can't be alone for too long, otherwise it's weird.
yeah. Especially like and like
Or
double
something's
the
wrong with you.
yeah, and then double like the stereotype for the like women too. Like, why aren't you married or something like that? So w- like it's worse on both ends, just
Yeah.
because we're forced we're forced to get into relationships because we have to for the sake of what reproduction.
Right.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's what I've that's like from my Muslim like background, that's essentially what it is. We should
Let's
only be in relationship with the first person that shows any interest in us. And I know I'm generalizing, but that's how it kind of works.
Right. I mean
those
there's
act.
that's a big thing is pressure in different religions,
Mhm.
cultures.
Yeah, by
Yeah.
far, it's definitely a big thing too. I definitely That's an interesting thing to have to navigate, especially given where we grew up. We got to witness the same pressures that you're speaking about. We definitely had a lot of people that was on top of their dating life and their emotional intelligence. They also had to navigate like am I defying my parents? Am I defying my family? Like it's an added
Yeah.
level of pressure. On
Right.
societal expectations also is like I didn't even I wasn't doing it out of the hustler to hide the appearance, but also that's why I wouldn't like share pictures with women or on dates and stuff because all of a sudden there's expectations to be filled of what is this relationship, what is that, and blah, blah. And I really just don't care to have anyone having those kind of prodding thoughts about my life in general. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna post anything about any sort of relationship development in my life because fuck you and your opinion, right?
Well, and that's a big thing, right? Like because and this is another thing too is like this trend of like we move from a dating app to a social app because you don't want to give people your number right away because of things that go in the world with dating and just people in general, right? But for me, I think like the biggest red flag is when someone's like, okay, what's your Instagram? For me, that's a red flag because one, I'm very personal. I have a private Instagram for a reason. And then this person that I don't really know very well wants to immediately move to like being my friend on Instagram. And it's like, you could have like taken my number and maybe we could have texted a little bit and like you could get to know me that way. But instead, we're moving right to Instagram where we'll send a few messages. You'll like a bunch of my Instagram posts and then we'll probably not really talk. Like it just seems very impersonal when you're trying to get to know someone. Even though it's a private space for me, it still feels impersonal that you're like, okay, let's go right to like your social media where you're just seeing the best version of myself that I'm putting out there. You're not even really getting to know me.
Yeah.
I find that's like because like one of like I don't know like never mind. This is a dumb
Go
thought.
ahead, say it.
Because
No,
it's like,
we're learning. Say it.
it's just like I think that like the asking for a social media thing is like I find it's a generational thing because I've never from experience I've never really had that, but I've heard of people who are younger than me say that they give out their Snapchats more than their numbers. Like,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I've done a lot of social media app dating. I've been the one to ask for the social media because it
Right.
does, even if it's the fake one. At least I know what your fake presentation is. I get a little bit of knowledge about who you are, even if it's a false one.
Right.
which is no knowledge then.
Yeah, well, my dating life wasn't always very successful, so let's just say
Right.
that.
But it works.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's just silly, Like, it's just silly that the first thing we do is go right to like social medias when we know that
Yeah.
that's like not what because you're trying to build something with someone to just go right to social media. Like, okay, whatever.
It's like it's just like you much because like seeing you okay like when girls do that to me in the back of my head I feel like they're probably doing it because they want to see like or to do some research on me like to see
Yeah.
what if I'm a if I'm a weirdo, which let's be
I
real.
can.
But yeah, sorry, but
I was just gonna say it's like because the only difference is like is it my brain or do you do this too? Because I'm also, since I'm Mr. PR, when I'm looking at their profile, I'm also like creating a general idea of like who they are based on how they use it. If it's they give me their Instagram and they post like once a year, then it like, gives me a good idea of who they are and how they interact with the interwebs. Is that
I
just
think
me or is that
I kind
everyone?
of
I mean,
I act like that in a way with like how often what they do and how much they post. Yeah, kind of.
I respect what you're doing.
Right.
But
But
I feel like I don't care how much someone uses their Instagram or not. Like, I feel like that doesn't matter to me. Like, if you're an
yeah,
obsessive user, then you're not change
Yeah,
anything to me.
my niece,
valid.
hopefully she doesn't see this, but
R.I.P. her feelings.
she's hella concerned about a snap score. Hella
Yeah,
concerned about that.
yeah.
So it's just like if a guy has like she's genuine enough to be like okay, a high snap score doesn't mean anything, but it's currency, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I think in that aspect it validates one you know in, in other. So if you had that, your personality doesn't really matter. It's just
Right.
you're tweeting or snapping 400 times a day. That's only the thing.
I mean, like, I understand the stressor of it, right? Because you want to know, like, if I'm talking to a lot of people, are they only interested in me? Like, there's a lot of questions that go along with those sort of behaviors. It's not like she's just doing it just to do it. Like, there's a reason why she wants to know this stuff. and I respect that, right? But it's so unhealthy, dude. It's just so unhealthy to be obsessed with what people are doing online. It's just not good for you, and it's not worth the stress of being like, what is this person doing
Mm-hmm.
when they're not
Yeah.
with me? Like, they're doing whatever whatever. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect either. I stress about that stuff too. It's normal to be like, what are they doing on their phone? I'm curious, right? It's kind of the way that the generation has been brought up to be. It's like, at some point you have to give yourself a break and be like, and I know I've talked about this before here. I don't remember when the last time was that we talked about it, but it's like, if somebody's gonna mess around behind your back or do something crappy, like, it's gonna happen, dude. And whether you hyperfixate on it or not is not gonna change what happens, as sad as that is, right? And I feel like for your own peace of mind, just let it go. Like,
Yeah.
don't worry so much about it. Like, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, like it's just like how I approach things. Like if like it the only like if I am so concerned about it, the only person who's being impacted by it is me. So
Mhm.
there's no reason to be losing your mind over something that you cannot like change or do with. So it's
Right.
just
You
like
can't
why
control.
yeah, like so these relationships, the best thing, what I tell myself, the best thing I can do is make those things happen less, or try to make them happen less, but cope with them if they do. Don't just like
Yeah,
fuck
that's
off.
that's where dating so many bisexual humans has helped me get rid of those anxieties of like jealousy anxieties, because like I used to have a lot of the same worry of what are they doing, who are they talking to, but then it's like dating people who could be sexually interested in literally anyone they talk to. Kind of, you gotta adjust real quickly to not be so concerned about what other people are thinking or doing.
Well, it gives you perspective, right? To be like, okay, maybe I'm overreacting to certain things, right? And like learning how to not overreact to those certain things and try and like take people at face value. Cuz like for me, I don't trust I don't trust a single soul. I'm just going to be honest. When it comes to trust, it's something that I just don't know how to do.
Mhm.
And like, that's not healthy for me because I'm spending so much time worrying about, can I trust this person? What are they doing? Where are they going? And it's not worth the stress of like trying to figure out what people are doing because they're gonna do what they want. Like, it's
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
it's gonna be what it's gonna be.
So
It's
yeah,
Yeah.
like I agree. I agree. The
No,
people
this is nice and humble.
are animals to our desires, and we're just gonna keep on doing what we want to do, right? Ultimately,
right.
yeah. So it's just like you can't you can't hope somebody is gonna do what you want them not to do because you feel, you know, insecure or
Right.
whatever.
Well, I mean, like, it sucks, but we have to learn how to like try and see people for who they are and what they're
Hmm.
showing you, and try not to like overanalyze everything all the time,
Hmm.
and try and immediately have the answers that we need right away.
Take
Mhm.
everything for face value.
Yeah, dude. Definitely.
Yeah, I should write a
No.
book on this.
Yeah, there you go. Top ten dating tips from degenerates on the internet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fuck you, Bailey.
LOL.
Thank you, Raza. Sounds good. Buy me dinner after. All right. Okay, last
I
section, kids.
some
Last
cheap
section,
sandwiches.
kids. I got some cheap sandwiches. All right.
Just
Okay, so Raza picked a sensitive
Yee!
but
Oh my god!
what? Come on, I gotta let me. You beat me up about the production. I beat you up about the writing. That's the bit.
And you fucking do the script next time. Fuck.
So
I'm kidding.
Raza picked a good one. That's a good conundrum. I have to first give a content warning for humans who are transitioning or already have transitioned, and it's not. Go,
Before
Raza.
Bailey goes on this content warning, I picked this one because it requires me to talk less. and that's what I like doing. Not really.
So this one is it's also very fair to the human that it was written badly. But nonetheless. So my girlfriend is considering being trans and I don't know how to handle it. So this guy, I'll start by saying I really love her so much. I've known her for almost 2 years and we've been so happy dating for the past 5 months. I was laughing at that part, only 5 months. But I found a note on her phone that said she feels uncomfortable that she was a girl. I asked her about it and she said that she doesn't know what she thinks. I told her I'd be 100% supportive of the journey if that's what she wants. I obviously want her to be happy and I genuinely mean that. But I pictured myself having a wife in the future. I have no problem with what she wants, but I just don't know what to do. I can't end something this special to hurt my heart for something like this. Like, how should I approach this? I thought if she loved me, she would try to keep everything as good as it is now. I don't know. It's fine for now, but I'm just scared about our future. And then this is the TLDR, girlfriend might become a trans male and I don't know how to handle it. So
I'm on.
Right.
I would say right off, my only thing, I won't go on a rant, I'll give it to Wine Mom, is that my main thing is he wrote it quite selfishly. His main concern is him here. I'll go Wine Mom.
I mean, that's a hard one because I have a lot of empathy. It's different it's different for me because I am bisexual, and if somebody felt to identify as that's irrelevant to me. I'm more interested in the person that you are. The gender is just what you happen to be. You know what I mean? So it's different in the sense that, like, I'm already, I guess, predisposed or predispositioned to be like, it is what it is. I'm cool with whatever you're doing, right? But I think when people don't really understand the full gravity of what it is to go through a gender change or to feel sort of gender dysphoria and like want to make those decisions, I have to say, like, I have the empathy for where he's coming from. But at the same time, you have to step outside of yourself and you have to see your partner for who they are. And at the end of the day, if who your partner is not for you, then like give your partner respect of allowing them to find somebody who's going to respect them for who they are and appreciate them for who they are, right?
Yeah.
But also, I implore you to like step out of yourself, relax, and allow this person the space to grow, because they've allowed you the space to grow to become who you are, and they've stuck by you. And it's not fair of you to be like, okay, well, now that you want to identify as something that I don't want to be here. It's like, you don't really know what that progress is going to look like. It may not be a full gender change. It may just be presenting yourself differently.
Yeah,
Or
that's what I'm saying.
right, or maybe she just wants to explore this idea of her life and see, like, maybe she might decide this isn't for her, but you have to give that person the right to explore and try new things out there and see what may be for them, you know?
Yeah, I think you worded that well. You're a great ally, Wine Mom. Yeah, it's like akin to what you're saying. He has this one specific line, and again, I hope this guy didn't get beat up on Reddit because I think he did do an okay job wording his feelings, at least.
Yeah.
The comments were very supportive of his plight.
Okay. Well, it could be good or bad, but it seems like this guy is at least genuinely opening to listen. But so the one line I noticed he said here specifically is that I can't end something this special to my heart over something like this. And it's like tied into what you just said, Wine Mom. It's like, so if your main thing here is your heart and you don't want to hurt your heart over this, like, why do you have to? Like, I'd maybe give it a time and see how the emotions still feel. Like, you're making a big presumption about how this is going to impact you when you clearly don't even know how it's going to impact you. And that's why you're writing this Reddit post.
You should cross
Right.
the bridge once you
Yeah.
get there. Don't presume that it's gonna the worst case scenario for you is gonna happen, right?
Right.
Just as Wine Mom said, just take a breather, chill, and it, whatever happens happens at that point. So
Right. I mean, like, step outside of yourself for a second and try to understand. Well, first of all, why are you going their notes that you saw that? That's what I'm a little confused about
Oh, I
that.
forgot about that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fucked. I forgot about
That's
that.
one thing. Like, why?
notes.
Yeah, they went
That's
through the notes and saw that she had a note in her gender dysphoria and then confronted her about it. Which, like, ew, don't do that.
yeah, never.
You know, like, don't do that. But I mean, the thing is, like, give her the opportunity to, like, explore this. I think it's really, like, just be fair, because if it was you wanting to do something, like, I'm sure she would support you. And like you said, the whole, like, something so dear to your heart, it's like, if it was truly that dear to your heart and that important, you would try to, like, step outside of yourself and get to know who this person is becoming, and like, just try to see the person, try and see them.
Yeah.
Maybe get therapy together and, like, actually, like, try and unpack, you know?
Yeah, that's a good way to that's a good way to word it, and definitely the most critical thing to put it. I'll try to give my personal feelings, but I might stutter through this one and blow it. It's like I did have to go through a similar situation in my life, right? And it's also like, as you're learning and exploring what you want or what you are comfortable with, it's, are you valuing your relationship with this human based on how much of a woman they are? Like, you may
Right.
say, like, this guy's saying he wants a wife, but when you think of what you want out of a wife, can this person who's currently your partner still be that to you? Like, your parameters of a wife doesn't mean, oh, she wears makeup and cooks for me and does female things. Like, if that's already not your definition, then why are you so hung up on your partner being a quote unquote wife?
Right.
Did I word that okay?
Yeah, no, you're right. Like, it's not all like what that person is gonna, like, the I don't know. You're right. Like, the gender thing, it's, if you love someone and you're truly into this thing, that's not the thing that's gonna end your relationship. You
Yeah.
know?
Because I'm just sitting there. I'm not, if you're loving someone, some people do. And I mean, it's cool if you are defining it between, like, I want woman. But I think in many cases, with a lot of dudes particularly, they've just never been presented with the option to stop and think of, like, yeah, this is what is, I'm not dating I'm not dating someone going, ugh, woman, I'm happy they have vagina. I am happy. This is what I need. Like, it's not a definable, you know? So it's like, I think it's also something to stop and, like, think about our first conversation of, like, think about what you want, and maybe your expectations that you thought you might have had originally are a little bit more rigid than you would have known because you haven't explored anything.
Right. Exactly. Like, I just genuinely feel like you guys need to do therapy together, or you need to sit down with some mediator, and you need to actually talk about these things. And, like, listen, I know we're beating up on this guy a little bit because we're saying, you know, you need to this and you need to that, right? But at the same time, she also needs to take some time to hear his side of things and, like, have a discussion about it, right? Because it is two people in a relationship. And also, you know, there could be some factors of her maybe not wanting to continue a cis relationship and maybe wanting to explore other things out there, you know? And, like, this is, like, I understand why he took it to Reddit, but they need to sit down and they need to, like, have conversations together and figure this out together. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. My only button to put on the end of it is also it's like normalize people asking questions like this guy. He may not have worded it the best, but I think I think these are questions that people need to hear being discussed so that they can navigate it as well. So as much as like you might want to come out and attack a dude like this right away, like maybe he has good intentions behind his statements and wants to learn about it,
Right.
you know?
Which is more than fine.
Yeah.
But I think they do need to spend some time unpacking it together, because I think there's other questions he has that are meant for her.
Oh yeah, never look through your partner's phones. Don't ever do that. Raza, give us the most important piece of advice that anyone could use for the day. Sign us off with the most important piece of advice you could give.
So, Italians. No, I'm kidding. Just when you're dating somebody, you know, just be you. Be the person that your 12-year-old self would be proud of.
Hey, that's a good start.
And
Right.
just be like somebody that you can be a memorable person that you want to leave a good imprint on somebody. You want to be a
Yeah.
subtle worm.
Well, yes.
Yes.
All right. So, folks, we're about to hit the outro video. If you're watching this on the recorded version or listening to the audio, you can twitch it up, hang out with us, chat with us afterwards.
Spotify now. That's awesome.
Raza likes to cut off the outros. That's why we recorded them. But nonetheless, thank you, everybody. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We appreciate you listening. Talk to you soon.
Thank you again for watching us badly talk about these topics.
You can follow us on Twitch, Marching Into Madness, all one word, no space. On the gram, marching_into_madness, and on Patreon at patreon.com/marchingintomadness. And again, on Le Discord at Marching Into Madness.
Join us, and Bailey will pay you 10 whole Canadian dollars.
You can follow Whitey over at gnarly_media on the Insta. You must definitely follow the life of our whole podcast, Wine Mom, at XWineMomX, because the year's 2002, and we still have the X in our names. And me, your favorite brown boy, at _r.rmalik_.
Thank you for the third time. We love you. Drink some milk and be healthy.
Remember, kids, say no to school and yes to
It's like such bad advice. It's like, here we put this well-formulated podcast together with good insight on facts and truth and political points and social issues. Don't go to school, dude.
Oh, God.
Bailey listens to
Motherfucker
me.
shouldn't be near school after saying that.
It's like, Bailey listens to me say the sentence and he goes, maybe I should say my sentence now.